be you're going to be successful. So what does this theory state? What does goal stating as a theory state? Okay. It is linked to task performance, meaning if you say that um, I have to go for a jog today at 5 a.m. in the morning, that's a goal that you're setting. But the task that you have is to wake up and go for a jog or go for a walk, or probably learn a new skill or learn a new technology. It can be varied. So the task is what you're going to do, right? Goal setting and task is very uh, interlinked. They go hand in hand. You will only set a goal when you know that you can complete a task at a particular time, right? So that's why there's realistic goals and unrealistic goals. We'll get to that. Okay. Now, this theory also states that specific and challenging goals, along with appropriate feedback, okay, will help you better perform your tasks, which means that you set a goal for yourself or the company, or maybe your family, your parents, your brother, sister has probably set a goal for you to achieve 85%, 90% in your academics, or you have to crack your JEE or your NEET or anything. Okay. While you're preparing for that, okay, and that's a specific goal, you have to uh, receive active, ongoing feedback from someone, or you can ask the same question to yourself: how good am I from where I started to where I am today? How do you think I can do better? So that is constructive feedback is what you need from people. It could be from industry experts. It could be from your teachers, your professors. If you have mentors, if you have connected with professionals online who are very aligned to your goal, you could go ahead and ask that. Okay. Finally, in very simple words, it a goal indicates, it gives you direction, okay, of yourself, whether you don't have personal goals or professional goals. And also, the beauty about having a goal set is you already have a gauge, you already have uh, a weighing machine on how much you can give spend time on how much of time that you can go ahead and allocate for you to do certain things. Okay. And how much of effort you have to put, whether you'll have to put in 8 hours a day, or if you're really good and if you're very smart, or you're a quick learner, you're very adaptable, you probably have to just give it a couple of hours a day. Right. So it gives you direction. It tells you what needs to be done. Okay. It also tells you how much of time and effort that you will be putting into it. Okay. Right. So again, I'll come back to this example, which is a goal for you to get an interview, which a lot of people have asked in the last previous times. If you have a goal set, if you have certain goals, which is like, I want to get an interview in an A company. Okay, let's assume that you want to get into Amazon. Now, a goal is that your end goal will be to get an interview and crack that job. But there are sub goals to it. First of all, you have to understand what does Amazon do, all right? That is a goal. You're learning about the organization. Secondly, another goal is where you go ahead and research and understand what are the roles that Amazon is offering, especially for a data science or a data analytics person, uh, a, a person with data analytics and data science background. Okay. Secondly, what needs to be done, which means that you're already doing it right now with the help of Physics Wala. You're learning a new technology, you're learning a new program, you're learning a new skill, right? That's what, that's the effort that that is what you're doing right now. Okay. And secondly, how much effort are you going to put in, which means you're already putting in probably in your classes, online classes every day, a few hours, but over and above that, also go one step ahead and also set a goal to see what you're learning is what Amazon as an organization for a particular role is looking for. How does it match? That's the effort you put in. Now, once you've done all that, and then you know this is the job, this is the role that I want to apply for, you will go ahead and apply to that particular role, going back to everything, like from your introduction to your interviewing skills, to your resume building, to your LinkedIn contact, to your networking. You will follow all this and then you will go ahead and apply. Now, since you've already had a direction, you've researched, you've upskilled yourself, you're good at it, you have a certification, you've done projects, and you've prepared yourself well for the interview, you go in, give it your best, and wait for the end result. Right? Was this explanation clear? Any questions you have so far? Please feel free to ask me, guys. Okay, there are no questions. I will go forward. Right? Like I said, right? There is a need for in an organization for goal setting. All right. Why is but if resume is not selected, you keep applying, you keep setting different. So I'm saying your resume can't be declined from 100 companies, right? There should be, if you follow the right rules on how to go ahead and make your resume, and you're really good at, uh, in the past sessions, what we've discussed about ATS and how to craft your resume as per the role, you might have failures, you might be rejected, but you will definitely get an opportunity, right? That is where motivation comes in. We'll get to that also, right? Now, why do organizations have certain goal settings? A couple of things. It facilitates, it gives, it finds people who are willing to learn, who are willing to take up initiatives, who are innovators, who are super, super smart and want to go ahead and bring something new to the table. Okay. It reduces wastages and breakages. Now, meaning if you have a team of 20 people, but if you have goals that have set and you give them clear timelines, you have to finish certain things. You will not have people trying to do something which is not related to the project itself. Or if there are breakages, meaning if there is a particular line of code that you're writing, a particular task you're trying to execute, if there's any errors, it's easier for you to fix it. Okay. And it improves morale. Morale is the most important thing when you're working. You need, that self sustenance, self happiness, right? That's morale. Like you don't have to be disturbed. If you have certain goals, you know that you're only going to follow to that. You don't have to do other things, right? It also creates good relationships, meaning if you're working together as a team and as a team, you have one end goal. Okay. You know what my end goal is for all of you guys, especially when it comes down to soft skill? My end goal is to ensure that all of you, with the time that we've spent, you from 1, 2, 3, however you rate yourself, I want you to be there at more than 50 to 70% of what you were in the past when it comes down to soft skills. That's my goal. Right? Now, how do I do this? Is I keep you engaged. I answer to your questions. I ensure that this these sessions don't go for a waste. There is some form of learning. And when you and I keep talking, you keep chatting, you keep asking me questions, certain questions, then I answer that. That helps us create a good relationship. You guys have also asked me what my LinkedIn profile is. I'm pretty sure I haven't seen LinkedIn in the last 1 week. Okay. But when I see it and when I find something, then I will definitely connect with you all via LinkedIn. Okay. That's how good relationships are built. And the same way works when you're working together as a team on a particular project. Like I've always said, everyone knows something more than what you do. And when you bring in ideas together and you're not hurting anybody's emotion, it helps you create good relationships, which will last for longer. That becomes a part of networking, right? It also improves a corporate image. So when I tell you it also improves a corporate image, an organization's image, right? When you don't have bad reviews, when you don't, when you have at least 90% of your consumers who are extremely satisfied with the product or your service, and they keep coming back to you know, use your product or your service, so that gives an image to the rest of the world that a company is doing well. Take Apple, for example. Why are they doing so well? Right? Because they have certain goals. They have timelines that only during these timelines we will launch our products, which is usually during September. And then they launch it, even though they don't make large technological changes or aesthetic changes, aesthetic meaning the touch and feel of a product and how it looks, the colors, everything else, the advertisements, all those are aesthetic feelings. Even if they don't do a lot on that, but they keep up to the promise, they at least bring one new edition or an improved version of a product, so which gives them a good value and image for the rest of the world. Okay. Sorry, guys. So it reduces absenteeism, which means that if you know that these are the 10 things that I do for the next 1 month, uh, you might be more uh, available in office, or even if you're working from home, you'll be more involved because you know that these are the certain things that is given, and there is an timeline, there is an end date that is set, and I have to do it because you already have a direction on how on what needs to be done, right? If you don't have direction, then you don't know what you're doing, and you might just take leaves, or you might just like not do anything, right? Setting a goal definitely, like we said, gives you much higher performance. It makes you more efficient. It makes you more disciplined while you are working. Okay. Any questions here so far, guys? Okay. No. Then let me go forward. This I know is too much text, but this is what is needed. All right. Um, there are certain advantages. Okay, on why you have to follow this goal setting theory. All right. Yes, Ronak. So you can set a goal, right? You can say, I want to go to Mars tomorrow, right? Or you say, I want to go to the moon. Now that's a goal, but there, the theory of goal setting is setting realistic, achievable. I wouldn't even say realistic, but yeah, going to the moon is something that can be done, not today, but it can happen later because people are working towards that, right? But the theory is you have to follow certain steps, follow directions, set timelines, learn and adapt yourself on how you will survive and sustain in that particular environment, right? That's where it goes. So you set certain achievable items for yourself also, right? I hope that was clear, Ronak. Okay. Uh, one of the advantages is if you follow this theory, okay, and you work towards your goal, it motivates you, it gives you career progression. Okay. The theory, if you follow this theory, then you have clear, particular, and different kind of goals that is achievable by you. You don't have vague goals. You can't say, you know what, tomorrow I want to go to the moon. or tomorrow I want to get a 20 lakh salary. That's very vague. Okay. Because you have to be really good at it. You have to understand what you're capable of before you set yourself for a task. Okay. All right. Great. Right. Again, like we spoke also, having certain set of goals, having a path, having a direction to achieve something will give you greater output, better output than what you expected, and better performance, meaning that you could be recognized by your peers, right? Again, goal settings like we've been talking about has to be very, very realistic and also will always need a timeline that is attached to it. Okay. Now, again, like I said, my mathematics and my accounting example, if I have a more challenging problem, or if I have a more challenging way to find a solution, setting a goal will give me greater reward, meaning I'll be super, super happy. I know that I've gone ahead and cracked it. I'll be very, very proud about myself. And it'll give me more motivation to achieve it. Okay. Having these goals, getting clear form of feedback will help you gain reputation, which will put you up on the map, meaning a lot of people will recognize you for the good work that you do. If you have realistic goals that are set in your company, you will be looked upon, you will be up for the next roles, um, you'll be chosen for you to move forward in your career. Okay. All right, let's go to the next one. Right, there are some contingencies of the of this whole theory. Okay, which is there's two forms of it. One is self-efficiency, which as written there. Second is goal commitment. Okay, so let me talk about goal commitment first and then come back to self-efficiency. All right, goal commitment, right? So this theory, that the goal setting theory, Ronak, which will definitely help you, is when you're practicing this theory, right? The theory automatically, there is an assumption that says you as an individual will be very committed to the role, okay, to this particular goal that you've set for yourself, and you will not leave it. Okay. Now there are certain things that for you to achieve this goal depends on a few factors. So a few factors that is listed down there is your goals should be should be made open, okay, known and broadcasted, which means that if you're telling yourself by the in the next, I don't know when completing with physics wala, let's say that it's going to be completed in the next 3 months maybe, and you receive your physical certificate or your virtual certificate from physics wala, you have to ensure you talk about what you want to do, where you want to be, and be proud about saying, I will want to do this, I am going to do this, but these are the things that I've set myself to. These are certain disciplines, certain habits that so there's certain habits that I'm being habituated to for me to go ahead and reach that particular goal. Okay. Again, goals mostly should be set by you unless it's a large organization and a very, very large team that you're working for. Because most data analytics and data science uh, people, as much as I know, business analytics folks are mostly individual contributors. So these goals, while the organization will have a set of goals for you to achieve at the end of the year, there are certain goals that you will need to set for yourself, which means that hey, my work starts at 10 o'clock in the morning and ends at 6:30 in the evening, meaning that one of the goals that I will set for myself is to ensure that If I'm in the off, if I have to go to the office, I will go to the office 5 minutes before my shift or my work starts, and I will do certain things. For the first 1 hour, I will clear out all of my emails. The next 1 hour, I will start prioritizing my tasks. Then according to task one, task two, task three, I will complete them over the day. So those are some basic professional goals that you have to set on day-to-day work. Okay. And it should also be consistent, and mainly it has to be aligned towards your role, your growth, and the organization's expectation and growth. Okay. Makes sense? Any questions on goal commitment? All right. Now, what is self-efficiency? Okay. It means that it's an it's self-confidence, faith, and potential, that you believe you have your own potential. This is very, very individual, right? That you can perform a particular task. Okay. What does that mean now? If you believe that you're very, very efficient by yourself, okay, as much as, or if you don't believe that you're very good at what you do, you put in more effort, you learn new things, you keep practicing, it'll give you greater end results. It'll give you greater achievements in life when it comes down to individual people. Okay. Okay. Lower level of self-efficiency, where you put in less effort, uh, you're not really interested. Like sometimes, I know for a fact that for some of us, this session could probably uh, not be an eye opener, not very very catchy or interactive for some of us. I'm not saying everybody, but for some of us, you might just quit and leave. Okay, that's why self-efficiency is very very important. Self-efficiency meaning gauge yourself, give yourself scoring, you, because nobody knows you better than yourself, correct? Like Ronak better than anyone else out in this world. Maybe his parents, maybe his siblings, his best friend, but nobody will know you better than what you know yourself. That's why you start gauging yourself, whether you have the capacity and the capability to do certain things, then pick up that task. Or if you're willing to go ahead and tell, you know for yourself that you, even if you're not capable but you're willing to go ahead and do it, take the risk, put in additional effort, learn something, you can go ahead and do that. So be very very honest and do that self-efficiency uh, assessment to yourself. Okay, any questions here? I think there was too much writing here. I try to minimize it as much as I can. Okay, no questions, let's go forward. uh, right, Shubham. Okay, a lot of people are not talking, but I hope Shivani is still here. I'm hoping. Okay, let's go to the next slide. All right, like we were talking about, right? Now, there are different types of goals, but globally, largely, everyone personally and professionally uh, have divided this into four types of goals, which is short-term goals, long-term goals. Can uh, I'm assuming that everyone has heard the first two, which is short-term and long-term goals. If yes, give me a thumbs up. And there's fixed goals and flexible goals. Okay. Now, what does a short-term goal mean? Right? Like the term, it's very self-explanatory. Okay, which can be achieved in the one next couple of weeks, or probably a few weeks, right? Which could be 2 weeks to a month, or it can also be a short-term goal. Can also be uh, a month to a year, Okay, that works when you work for a company, you've joined in as an associate, then you want to move yourself above as maybe a senior associate. Those are short-term goals because most companies have this policy where you have to do, when you've joined, you have to be in a particular role for 12 months or 15 months. Uh, Varies from company to company. So that would be a short-term goal, right? Then there are long-term goals, okay? Which means that today, 2025, you're saying you've you're doing a particular skill, you've upgraded your skill, you've learned a new skill, all right? Now, how are you going to go ahead and put it to work? How is that skill going to help you do your role very, very well? How is that skill going to give you, somebody said money motivates you, right? What kind of salaries can that skill acquire? And if you have to, where do you look at yourself? I'm not too sure if people have asked you this question. Where do you look at yourself in the next 2 to 3 years? Now, that would be a long term goal. Whether you want to have a grow in the corporate ladder, grow within an organization, or grow within a particular industry to different levels, associate, senior associate, a business analyst, senior business analyst, senior data science specialist, manager, senior manager, and then you grow up. So that would be a long-term goal. Okay. Now, a fixed goal, meaning this is where ambition comes into picture, right? You want to do something with your life, personally or professionally, in the next 5 to 7 years. Let's take, for example, you start working today. You have a short-term goal. You want to, move to the next uh, level within the organization. And then a long-term goal is in 3 years, you want to look at yourself as managing probably a team of 7 to 10 people or more. A fixed goal would be that at the end of 5 to 7 years of my career, which is starting in which I start in 2025, by 2030, 2035, or 2032, you want to look at yourself where you're managing an entire business, which and a department within that business, which is called data science or data analytics department, where you're managing it. You're the head for it. That would be a fixed goal. Or a fixed goal could be as simple as I'm starting my career today. In the next 10 years, I want to buy a house for myself. I want to buy a car for myself. That would be more of a fixed goal. Okay. Clear? Is it simple, basic for you folks to understand? Okay. Now there are flexible goals, right? Now flexible goal is very, very, very simple. Okay. Maybe you want to, you're more of a tech background, right? You're an engineer, you want to do coding. But at some point in time in your life, you want to become a business owner. You want to have a own startup, which could be something that is related to uh, uh, the stream of work you were doing, the academics that you've learned, or the skill that you've acquired over a period of time. Okay, there's no set goal. Like you want to do it in the next 10 years, but it can wait for the next 15 years also. No problem. That to chalega. Okay, that's more flexible. A simpler example that I will give you is flexible goals could be your travel plan. So I have this thing that I want to travel to Spain because Spain and Barcelona, I think that's one of the most beautiful countries in the world. Okay. But I don't have a specific time frame that I've set for myself to do it. Right. If everything goes well, then I might even leave tomorrow. Or I might do it when I'm much older, when I have a lot more time and free time in hand where everything is settled for me and now I'm ready to travel. That's what a flexible goal is. Okay, perfect. Yes, see that, yes. Now, that would be a fixed goal, Ankit. As much as it would be a long-term goal, but it would be a fixed goal because you have decided you might have to put a time frame for that, for you to solve a problem and turn it into a business, right? Which, for example, what Swiggy and Uber and Ola are doing, right? They found a problem. They realized why we not give them more, you know, ease of access. That was the problem that they found. Why do people have to keep waiting for autos going on the road, booking autos or taking public transport? We'll just give them an ease of access, right? All right. So let's go to the most important thing of this goal setting process. Guys, please make a note of it. If you want to take a screenshot, this slide will be available for you for future reference. But just for now, there are two kinds of goal settings. Like I've said, there's one which is unrealistic, and there's two which is realistic goals. Right? I will talk about unrealistic goals first. Okay. Now, one is it's not realistic. Okay, it's not very ideal for you to do. You can't say I will fly. I will want to fly a plane. It's very, very unrealistic. Unless you've had enough years of experience, you've learned it, you understand how to fly a plane, it cannot go ahead and you can't do it tomorrow, right? Now, setting unrealistic goals will 99% of the times will be unachievable, which means that you set unrealistic goals, you might not be able to achieve it. You might not succeed. In turn, you will start feeling bad about yourself. You will start facing failures, which will lower your image, your confidence, and your self-esteem. Okay. So do not set unrealistic goals. An example that I said is you want to fly a plane tomorrow is a very, very unrealistic goal unless you just don't know what it is. Okay. For example, here, an IT working person, a person who's working as a programmer or a software engineer in an organization aims to visit Mars. Okay, now that's a good thing, right? It definitely is a good thing. But why did I pick up this example is because you are working in a stream, okay, which is software development, IT programming. What would you do visiting Mars? It's a question that you will have to ask yourself, right? What would you do visiting Mars? Or I'm a commerce student, right? Why will I want to apply for a role which needs back-end, front-end development? Somebody who understands what APIs are, somebody who understands what Node.js is, somebody who understands what HTML is. Why will I want to even get there? My expertise is my communication, my business development skills, setting up operations. So I will go ahead and work towards that, which is more realistic. Okay. Now let's come to realistic goals, which is the most important thing, which will uh, surely help us achieve, become more successful. Okay. What is realistic goals? As the term itself says, achievable, acceptable, can be done. Okay. Because you know you have set something that you believe you have the capacity to do it and you've given yourself timelines, there is no chances less than a few might fail. Okay. Or there could be a form of error, not a mistake, not failure. Not being successful while you set realistic goals is a next to impossible thing to happen. Okay. While you start setting realistic goals, because you have a direction, because you have a path that you've set for yourself, uh, you will be clearer, you will be motivated, you'll be happy. Now, once you get happy, what happens? You start enjoying what you do, you start loving yourself, and you become more successful. Your goal is achieved, right? A simple example would be that a person working in an IT programming wants to learn software testing. Yes, it makes sense because programming is again a technology. Software testing is also something that goes on while you build a product, while you build a service or a program or a website. It needs some form of testing. Anything that is manufactured today, non-living things, need some form of testing, right? So learning that will help you because you already know IT programming. You're learning, you're just having another, feather in your hat, which will give you a much more larger pathway, a bigger door will open where you can work as a programmer, you can start doing web development. Simultaneously, you can also do testing of the product that you're building, right? Where you do beta testing, where you do UATs, you can definitely do that, right? Everyone is clear about realistic versus unrealistic goals. How does it help? How does it not help? Right. The next thing is there are certain reasons where certain goals can be unrealistic, right? Uh, this basically happens while you're working, and it can also be uh, set individually for yourselves. All right. One of it is setting certain goals which begin at an ill time, meaning let's take for example, uh, you have something called as a offer sales cycle, discount cycle that happens, right? Uh, Having a sale or a discounted price selling can work in Diwali, during Diwali time or during any festival, but you can't do it throughout the year and you can't expect it to have the same result. You might go on loss, right? Because the number of people that shop and that spend, forget the number of people though, the spending power during a festival time is much, much higher compared to your regular time of the year, right? That's where a bad timing can help. Okay. Goals that require unavailable resources, meaning, uh, let's say, you are working on a web development project and you're the only one who's doing it, which is a very heavy website that you need to build or a heavy data set that you have to do analysis on, but you're doing it by yourself, right? But you know that you cannot go ahead and complete this task. If you have to do it by yourself, you might take 6 months, but if you have another person or two other people to you, it can be done earlier. But that's what it means, giving you unavailable resources. You're the one who has to do it, right? That's one of the reasons. Okay. Again, very vaguely written goals, no specific uh, direction towards it is also can be unrealistic. Again, not clear and vague, same thing. They're giving impossible deadlines, right? As an example, they can't say, hey, I'm giving you this data set which has probably more than 10,000 rows and about over 50 columns. Now I need you to go ahead and build a dashboard and give it to me by tomorrow, which means today you're leaving work at 6 o'clock. This task has been assigned to you at 5:30, and they expect you to go ahead and have this delivered by tomorrow morning. It can be possible if you're working throughout the night, if you're an expert in doing it, but ideally it is not, right? Okay, that's what it is. Like, I'll come back to a simpler example. You cannot fly a plane tomorrow unless you know the basics to it, or if you've done it in the past, right? Goals that are written to achieve an impossible outcome. Okay, which means that, let's take sales for example, right? You have launched, let's take Amazon or Zepto or any of these quick commerce, e-commerce large giants. You can't launch a particular campaign and expect you to achieve a sales number or a target number which is much higher. You can't say I'm launching a service, a campaign today, and or take physics wala also for an example, or any ed tech or any company. Can't say I'm launching a campaign today and I will need 10,000 people to join me. And all those 10,000 people should be in the office for an interview. That's impossible. That's very rare outcome, right? Okay. So let's go to the next one, which is very important. While you're setting goals, you have to follow this method called the SMART method. Okay. How many of us remember from not our uh, last session or the session before that, we spoke about something called as a STAR method? I hope some of us at least remember what a STAR method is when it comes down to networking, communicating, right? I'm doing good, Lokesh. Thank you. Ankit. Yes, very good, Ankit. So similar to that STAR method, which is more to do with communication and putting a point across, setting goals itself has something called as a SMART method. Okay. So what does SMART? Good, Lokesh. Great. Uh, S stands for being specific. M stands for measurement. How can you measure your goal? A stands for attainable, meaning if you can attain it, why should you set that? Why should it be attainable? R stands for being realistic. T stands for being timely. Okay, let's deep dive into this. Let's go more in detail. Okay, why should your goals be specific? Right? You've just spoken about realistic and unrealistic goals, right? If you want your goals to be realistic, okay, if you're very specific to it, you have a lot more chances of achieving or accomplishing that particular task. Okay, right? When you have why before you set a goal, a specific goal for yourself, all right, you have to ask the 66 WH questions. Okay, first of all, who is this for? Is it for yourself or is it for a project that you're working? Okay. Secondly, what is it that you want out of it? Okay. Thirdly, where it's going to help or where is this task going to be performed? All right. Which means if I do all of this, which ways can I utilize my skills to help achieve this goal? Okay. Thirdly, why? Why are you going ahead and setting this particular task as a goal that needs to be completed? What does it? Why are you doing it? What is the outcome by doing this particular task, by performing this particular task? What, why are you doing this? Right? Clear? I hope I've been clear there. Okay. So a simple example, I picked out a very general example is you want to get in shape. Okay. A specific goal, a specific way. Uh, if you want to hit the gym or you want to become more fit, strong and then more flexible, yoga, whatever that is, right? You specifically, you will set time, which means you will join a gym or you'll join a yoga class or you'll join a meditation class and you will ensure that you will tell yourself that you will be there at least 2 days a week, 3 days a week, or 5 days a week. Right? That's being very specific, right? You don't say, I will join a gym or a yoga class or a meditation class, but I'm not too sure. I have 5 days a week, but I don't know when I'm going to go. Be specific on when you want to go. So you have your time sorted, dedicated to doing that one task, right? Secondly, your goals should always be measurable, okay? Which means establish certain criterias, okay? Which means ask yourself some questions. How much of time that I can give, okay? How many days, how many hours a day that I can go ahead and perform these tasks, okay? And how will you know whether it's accomplished or not? which means that let's say that you're doing a project. Okay, you started off with A, you measure it. You say, you know what, hey, I started on the 1st of January. On the 15th of January, there is a progress, which means that, I've moved from point A to point B, which could be 15%, 10%, or even 5% increment, 5% forward, right? So good. Okay. Why do you measure your progress? Right? Why should your goal be measurable? All right. It helps you stay on track. It gives you an understanding on where you are exactly, what you should be doing next. Okay. It'll help you reach your target dates a lot easier, faster, maybe before or on, where it won't get delayed or extended. And then because you have measured, if there is some form of reward, some form of data set, some form of measurement that you've kept there, right? Some form of achievement level that you've kept, which is why all of these games have different levels. Nobody will ever be happy if you play a game. If you go from the first level to the next 50th level, there's no excitement. Going to 0 to 100, no, you have to go from 0 to 10 to 20 to 25 to 30 to 40 and then 50, then 70, 80 and 100, right? It gives you some form of excitement, gives you an adrenaline rush because you've completed it. You've given yourself some time. You've completed it, and great. It's like even as simple as binge watching a Netflix show or anything else, a Prime Video, Hotstar, any series, any movies. Like you said, this Saturday I'm going to watch 3 movies. These are the 3 movies, and I'm going to start while I'm having breakfast. I want to finish certain episodes while I finish breakfast. Then I want to finish certain episodes while I'm, finishing lunch, and then I want to finish certain episodes before I while I'm finishing dinner. Right? That is measuring. That's also a goal. That's also a task that you want to accomplish on your personal day off. Right? Okay. Great. Now, what does why should your goals be attainable? Right? Because if you don't know how to go ahead and reach, if you, for example, let's say you've started at one end of a bridge, you've taken your first step and you don't know, if you don't believe that you can go ahead and reach to the other end, then there's no point of walking on that bridge, right? Because the goal is for you to go ahead and cross the bridge to get on the other side. Okay. Now it has to be attainable is because it will give you ways to think what are most important to go ahead and do this. Okay. For example, if you're crossing a bridge, what is more important? You should know the way. You should ensure that you have the right shoes. You have uh, enough energy and strength. Right? It attainable also meaning that do you have the attitude? Do you have the ability? Do you have the skills? If you want to find a job in data analytics and data science in Amazon, do you have all of this? Why does it say attitude? Is because are you comfortable in adapting to the work culture that Amazon has? Okay. Uh, Again, if you've already done this in the past, if you've had an interview, but you weren't able to crack an interview, then attainable becomes a factor and you'll go back and look at your experience on certain things that you might have missed that you could have done wrong, which you changed now. Okay. Planning your steps ahead while you're trying to cross on the other side. You take it step by step or you take it 10 feet by 10 feet by 10 feet. All right. And while you get there slowly, when you start from 10 to 10, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 feet, you become more closer because you come so far, you've attained it. And then the next few steps are going to be easy. Right? Again, attainable meaning, list your goals. See yourself whether you are achieving them. Okay? Meaning that when you're achieving them, that is one form of measure. Second is if you've said that you will do this by the end of today, are you getting there? If you're not, then question yourself. Why am I not able to do that? Well, it can be distraction, it can be emergencies, it can be just lack of interest, it can be anything. Okay? All right. Couple of things. Your goal should be realistic, meaning something that you or your company or another person with you is willing to go ahead and ensure that we will work hand in hand to go ahead and finish this task or to go ahead and reach a particular destination. Okay. Every step of the way that you want to do something, it will show some progress. Okay. Because your graph can't be always going down. It has to go up. Yes, sometimes you will have a fall, but it has to always have an upward graph. That is progress. Okay. A high is easier to reach. What does this mean is a high goal, as in don't really think very, very big about it, but a high realistic goal, which is like a short-term goal. You've joined an organization as maybe a fresher, but then you want to move up the next level. Okay, that's a quite a high goal that you've set for yourself while joining an organization, and you'd want to go and you have high motivation there because maybe it's your first job, maybe it's a new company, maybe you're super excited about showcasing the skills that you've learned. It gives you higher motivation. Okay, realistic goals are goals that you know can be accomplished with whatever uh, knowledge you have, whatever knowledge, whatever experiences, whatever intelligence, whatever wisdom you have. Realistic goals are goals that you believe can be accomplished by yourself with no additional support. You can learn new things, that's definitely there, but you believe that you can do it by yourself. Okay. All right. Now, why should your goals be timely? Again, why should it have a time frame? That's where we talk about fixed goals. You want to buy a house in the next 10 years, in the next 5 years, in the next 3 years. Have that time. Okay. If you don't have a time set, all right, uh, so why do you think that how many of us follow football here? Okay, how many of us follow cricket? I'm pretty sure everybody does. How many of us follow hockey? How many of us follow uh, base not baseball, basketball? How many of us follow kabaddi? Right? Because when there is a time frame set, especially for football, right? Only cricket. Okay. So we'll even talk about cricket. Why do we have different forms of cricket, right? Why do you have a 2020? Now that itself is like a time frame that's set, right? You only get 120 balls, okay, to play. Right? Now it's up to you. You play it in 30 minutes or you play it in the next 3 hours. That's up to you, right? Now sometimes it can be unrealistic, correct? A game can happen really quickly or it can go on for a long time, right? But there is some form of time frame, which is why you take football, for example. They give you 90 minutes, right? In that 90 minutes, you ensure you play your game at your best. You score for your team and you go towards winning. That's why that time is very, very important. If you want to achieve something, give it yourself 3 months from now or a month after I received my certification on data science or data analytics from Physics Wala. 1 month from now, I will want to have a job. That's a realistic approach. You know why I'm saying 1 month? Is even before you start get your certification in hand, you will already be preparing, reaching out to people, networking, maybe given a few mock interviews or just tried your luck. Okay. And if you have your time set, if you have a time frame that you've set to go ahead and do something, it will motivate you. It'll ensure that you work towards it faster. Okay. Because the time is running out. Right. Now let's get to the last few bit of it, which is motivation, which is what all of us need today, including myself. I need motivation. My motivation comes from when you folks here are speaking, being active, are yes, time is the most important thing, Lokesh. That is very, very true because once you lose it, you're never going to get it back. So my motivation here today, or every time that in a week I have sessions that I do online and offline, my motivation is I want my people, I want, and then you've done your own analysis, everything, and then you finally go ahead and visualize it using Power BI, right? That's the tool that data science and data analytics folks use, correct? Okay. Or you made it a dashboard, and that dashboard has come out extremely well. Your numbers are correct. The color combination is perfect. It looks super good to your eyes. Now that's positive, right? Because you're happy, you achieved something. That's positive motivation. Now, what does negative motivation mean? You've tried the same thing, but there is some form of error while you're trying to execute that particular, let's say an SQL code, or you're trying to go ahead and do some form of automation in the Excel. You're trying to convert a CSV file. It's not working, but that also can be motivational, right? Because you're failing, you're trying everything, you're failing, but you're not going to give up. That's where negative, being negative, a failure, is giving you motivation to go ahead and prove something and become successful. Okay. Now, the most important thing is motivation is very goal oriented, meaning it means that you have a task that you've set in your head and you've given it a time that you will finish it. That is one form of motivation. Okay. Motivation is an art, means that not a lot of people get this. Like sometimes a lot of people might just wake up and say, why should I even go to work? Or somebody today would have decided, hey, there was nothing happening for the first few minutes, so I don't really care. I will drop off, right? Okay. It's an art. It has to come from within. It has to have passion. Okay. And then motivation is system oriented, meaning if you have a certain lifestyle that you follow, meaning uh, you only have you only have breakfast and dinner, and then you skip lunch and you have a small snack during the evening. That means that you're doing it because you're somehow uh, wanting to follow a healthy, dietful life. That is system oriented, right? Because your head, your body, and your mind is set to that. Now, when you suddenly have lunch, then it might affect you. Okay, that's what motivation system oriented means. Okay, motivation is different from job satisfaction. Okay, job satisfaction meaning that you're happy that you have a job in hand because that's what you want. The job is paying you well. Okay, and you're somewhat happy to go ahead and work with this organization. Now that's job satisfaction. Motivation is that you have a job, you love that job, and you want to go back to that job or role that you're doing because you love it every day, and you want to improve yourself, and you want to go ahead and do better than what you did the last day, yesterday. That's motivation. Okay, that's why a lot of sportsmen have motivation but don't have job satisfactions. Okay, you can't say Virat Kohli is not motivational, right? You can't say Virat Kohli is very happy with his job, meaning heading the team, has done so much. No, he's motivated. He wants to come back and break his own record. He wants to score higher runs. He wants to consistently do better than what he did last. That is what motivation is. If he just comes and plays for India and, he has 100 other uh, endorsements, advertisements that he does, that's job satisfaction for him. But being motivated is saying, I want to do better. I want to put my country up on the map. That's what it is. All right. Any questions here so far? Okay. If not, let's move to the next slide. Okay. Now, Motivation has two types of it. One is needs and wants. Okay. Again, people may get motivated for different reasons, right? Now, what influences the different types of motivations is one is needing something, second is wanting something, right? Now, can anybody type out an example, a difference between what is a want and a need in your own terms, in very simple examples, if somebody can? A want is just desire, all right? Need is necessities. Okay, I'll give you an example, okay? A need is something that you need to have for you to survive and thrive and move forward in life, meaning that you need water to survive, to keep yourself dehydrated. Example, right? Good, Sid. I like that. You need a shirt or a t-shirt because you have to cover yourself when you're going out, so you don't look awkward in front of everyone. But you want only a Puma or a Levi's or a Louis Vuitton or an Armani or a Being Human t-shirt or a jean is not the need. Okay? The need of that particular piece of cloth is to cover yourself. Right? So need is a compulsion a person will have to pursue the next thing. Okay. I need this job because I think I'm good at it and I know I have the ability to prove myself and I know I have the ability to grow. That's the need. Or you need this job because you have personal commitments, financial commitments, things that you have to support for yourselves or for your home. That's needing a job. I only want this job because, uh, I need to show some form of experience that I have. Right? You get the difference, you get the tone there. Okay, great. A couple of examples would be I'm hoping that this will boost my self-esteem. Again, just hoping. Wanting is something very, very superficial also, right? When you need something, when you want something and you don't get it, right, you become very, very unsatisfied. But when you need something and you still don't get it, you're still okay. Like, maybe that's how the world works. I need a bike because I want to travel to office. I want a BMW bike to travel to style and office. Perfect. That's the difference. Great. I love this. Wonderful, guys. Okay. So I think we're almost at the end of the session, right? So there is extrinsic and intrinsic ways of rewards, right? Okay. What does this mean? Now, what is an extrinsic reward? Okay. Which are external factors where it's available, which is motivational, okay, which means that you're happy, you get motivated by certain things, which could be very, very uh, materialistic. Okay, materialistic, I'm saying. Okay, which means that as a child, if I've gone ahead and gotten good marks, if I have a brother or a sister, if my brother or sister hasn't gotten good marks, but I will get a ice cream or I will get a chocolate, or I will get a new bag to school, or I will get a cycle that I can go to school with. Now that those are extrinsic rewards, okay, which is very materialistic, meaning your pay, money, you get a salary hike for doing something. That's very, very motivational, right? Yes, Ronak, that also is a good example. Benefits, if you're working for a company, maybe they give you free food, breakfast and lunch, or lunch and dinner, or anything. Okay. Promotions, you're moving from one phase of your career title to another, which is very, again, very, very physical, very financially, uh, attached things, correct? It hits your emotion, but also you need to see that physically. Okay, transfers, meaning you want to go on site to US, Europe, Germany, Canada, Singapore, Malaysia, anywhere, right? Those transfers. Insurance, like your company gives you medical insurance, maybe they cover you up to 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs, and you also have your parents covered, or your spouse is covered, or whatever that is, right? Without you paying for anything. Now that's a perk. That's an add-on is uh, which motivates you to go to work, right? Rest periods, again, vacation time. Some companies have this policy in India and outside of India where they have something called as a mandatory off, meaning that they give you 2 weeks or sometimes 1 week in a year where whatever you're doing, whether you have task, whether you don't have task, you will have to take 1 week off. And that's a paid off that you get. That's what a rest period is. Okay. Clear about what extrinsic rewards are. I will move to intrinsic rewards. Okay. They're very internal. They're very, very personal. They give you like a, a form of happiness for achieving something. Okay. Meaning feeling responsible. Okay, that you have gone ahead and completed some form of work that's given to you, or you've gone ahead and completed a 5K run. That's very, you're the only person who's responsible to do it. Okay. Achievements, you've been awarded, not rewarded. So there's a difference between award and reward. Okay. A reward is where you get some form of financial or anything that's attached where you can get something, like you can buy something out of it. That's a reward. Okay. And which is very materialistic. Award is also materialistic, but award is where you've been appreciated for all the work that you've done. Okay. And you get it in front of 1,000, 2,000, or no, how many other people it is. Okay. That's a level of achievement, right? uh, Constant learning for a lot of us, learning something new every day, learning a new language, learning a new word, like that's some form of motivation. When I'm reading the newspaper in the mornings and I read a new word, I try my best to relate to it. If not, I go ahead and open up the dictionary and find what the meaning is. So learning something very, very constant. Taking up challenges is very intrinsic, right? uh, you get what drives you is a challenge. If somebody tells you you cannot do it, then you're like, no, I will do it. And I'm not doing it because you told me. I'm doing it because I know that I can prove myself. Right? Praise and praise, recognition. Okay, that's the same thing I said. Being awarded, being appreciated for all the hard work, the time that you put into anything that you do. Okay. Delegation of authority and responsibility. This is a big form of happiness, motivation. I can even say it gives you an adrenaline rush when it comes down to this. Okay, you to tradition, tradition. Okay, right. So meaning that if you if you're a if you're an individual contributor, but then you also have a chance to work with a team where you've been given the authority to go ahead and say, hey, for the next 3 months, you'll be working with a set of 5 people. These set of 5 people are probably freshers or people with 1 or 2 years experience. You become their responsibility. You're like a team leader. You're like a manager for them, which means that you will do everything, starting from um, allocating work to them, gauging their performances. So that gives you some form of motivation, right? Okay, great. Any questions here so far, guys? All right, wonderful.